sorry.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Rogue Wave podcast, a frequency for all things pop culture and the disruptors behind it. We talk comics, movies, TV, and pop culture every Wednesday night right here on the Rogue Matter Podcast Network. That's youtube.com/Rogue Matter and facebook.com/Rogue Matter Podcasts. Download this podcast immediately following the live stream. Join the movement. Go Rogue, roguematter.com. I am your host, Michael Dolce. As always, joined by my cohort in crime, Mr. Hassan Godwin. How you doing, sir?
Hey, everything's great. Life's good.
Well, it's much better than being like the Jeopardy guy, right?
Which one?
Well,
There have been so many.
You know, the guy who basically was like, I want to host, and then he ends up losing his job completely because of it, which I thought was actually kind of funny. I mean, very sad, don't get me wrong, but also kind of ironic, right? Like, he'd still have an executive producer job if he had just not wanted that host job.
Use your social media wisely.
Yeah. Well, again, it's going back to like when it was like 2013 and they pulled stuff up, but apparently now they're like interviewing all these other people and they're like, no, not good. So that's supposedly
Use your social media.
I think the rule of
wisely.
thumb, I think you said it best, right? Though, like if you're a good guy, like these things won't happen, right?
Theoretically, if you have a good character, theoretically they won't happen. But the bottom line is, look, don't say anything on social media you wouldn't say in a crowd.
Yeah,
That's all. There's a lot of things you wouldn't say to a group of people that you just met, or on a job interview, or at a restaurant, at a dinner party. Just treat Facebook like that. Treat Facebook and Twitter especially like a press conference. There's stuff you're not going to say in front of.
You know what you got to use? You know what you got to do? You just got to treat it like a selling device. And that is my segue into my latest comic, Time Trader #3, now live on Kickstarter. You can go to roguematter.com/Kickstarter to go back it. We are currently almost 83% funded, so please go ahead and check it out. So Time Trader #3, now live on Kickstarter, roguematter.com/Kickstarter. Dylan Sharp has the ability to rewind time whenever he wants to. He uses his power to go cash into the stock market, discovers it's run by an Illuminati of time traders just like him. And in issue 3, he's now in bed with the enemy, and he's going to find out there is no such thing as a get-rich-quick scheme. Exciting announcement tonight, though, is that we got an awesome endorsement, and it's an endorsement from friend of the show, but not just friend of the show. I mean, co-creator of Deadpool himself, Mr. Fabian Nicieza. This is what Fabian had to say about Time Trader. Time Trader is a high-concept premise told in a grounded, unique way. What would real people with all their flaws do with the unlimited potential of incredible powers? Good job by Michael Dolce and Sue Sherpa on an impressive launch. That is the endorsement. Again, go check it out. roguematter.com/Kickstarter will take you right to the campaign. What do you think of that, Hassan?
That's great.
Was that almost infomercial-like? Because we're going to use that on the video. I'm literally trying to kill two birds with one stone, and I just did it on the podcast, and then we're gonna slap it on the infomercial.
I would redo it.
But no,
I would redo it. It sounds very generic.
Well, the quote is what is all that matters. Now, in full disclosure, I wrote Fabian. Fabian is a friend of the show, and I said, hey, look, I've never asked him for anything before, and I said, hey, if you like this book, and I gave him issue 1 and 2, and you would feel free to write something about it, and give it some sort of endorsement, that would be awesome. And he did, and I said, look, if you don't like it, don't worry, no hard feelings. So I'm assuming he at least is not embarrassed by it, which is all you can really hope for when you're a writer, right?
That the person that you give your story to is not embarrassed,
right? To put his name and say like, yes, I endorse this right now.
Yeah, that's the pretty much atypical hope that you would have, but,
right? Like that's what you're shooting for when all is said and done. So,
yes, that is exactly what you're shooting for.
All right, I'm sure people didn't come here to. Oh, actually, maybe they did.
Not at all.
Kickstarter. Go to the Kickstarter. You might as well. It's 83% funded right now, and I don't want to really hawk it, but I'm sure that's not why people came here. People came here because the Rocketeer is in the news. The Rocketeer.
That's why I'm here.
The Rocketeer, of all things, is in the news. Now, I got to tell you, and we'll get into what the story is in a little bit. I'm shocked this story hasn't come out sooner, to be honest with you. And that is that there's a Rocketeer reboot in the works on Disney Plus. I guess because there just wasn't any such thing as Disney Plus many years ago. Is that maybe the issue? Maybe they were like, we're not gonna try to go, because remember the original Rocketeer didn't do very well.
Is the Rocketeer being new now a result of there not being a Disney Plus a few years ago? Is that the question you just asked me?
Yeah, because the original Rocketeer did not do well in the theaters at all. I mean, it was generally regarded as a flop. It was a surprising flop too, because it was lauded. It has an amazing record on
30 years ago though. And it's become a cult hit since then.
I think there's something to that, right? Where now it's not something that we wouldn't question it now, but anyway, it's in the works.
You're questioning it now.
And we are going to a little bit later. We are going to run down the top reboots we want to see and the reboots we don't want to see. We're also going to talk DC Fandome. DC Fandome just announced that they will be back as well, and they've got a lineup. So we're going to rank in order of importance the trailers and behind the scenes stuff that we would like to see. But we're going to start with The Suicide Squad becomes the most watched HBO Max film on HBO Max. The most watched DC film. Not the most watched film, but the most watched DC film. And that's kind of interesting, right? In the sense that Suicide Squad did not really perform as well as people would have liked in the box office. But then it turns out that I guess people maybe kind of like the movie. So it's well known to this point that Suicide Squad didn't fare too well, but the film was also released on HBO Max. James Gunn, The Suicide Squad, joined Wonder Woman 1984 and other 2021 films from Warner Brothers with a simultaneous release. According to a new report from Deadline, Samba TV Metrics reveals that The Suicide Squad scored 4.7 million households in the first 17 days. It tops Wonder Woman 1984 and the Snyder Cut, which Wonder Woman came in at 3.9, Snyder Cut came in at 3.2. Mortal Kombat holds the top overall spot with 5.5 million, and Godzilla vs. Kong is in at second at 5.1 million. My initial thoughts when seeing this was that we don't know what the metrics of streaming are. Like, we don't know what... Sorry, not the metrics. We don't know what the ramifications of these metrics really mean, right? In the long term, we know that Suicide Squad was estimated to open up as close to Black Widow or as close to F9 based on pre-pandemic, and then you had things like the Delta variant that is obviously kind of shaking up the industry again. It's delaying some films, though Venom now is going to be 2021, apparently. It's not been pushed to 2022, whereas it was being reported that it was last week.
What a crying shame.
Oh, I know you're very, very upset by this news, but
I'm broken about it.
But yes, so apparently it is not going to be pushed back, or at least we don't know, right? Like, we don't know exactly.
We don't know yet.
But as of now, as of tonight at 8:12 p.m. on a Wednesday night, it is officially not been pushed to 2022 and is going to happen. So anyway, going back to Suicide Squad, the circumstances of its release kind of make it tough to gauge. Well, now maybe we have a gauge that, you know what? For all the hoopla of Justice League, right, of Zack Snyder's Justice League, of the critical success of the first Wonder Woman, and now, all of a sudden, this movie has more views at home. So what does that ultimately mean? It ultimately means James Gunn might have an audience here. And this is important because we're going to be having Suicide Squad spinoffs coming. So, you got the John Cena show. He's talked about a whole bunch of other things. He talked about the fact that Nathan Fillion's character is not necessarily dead in the movie. It looks like he's dead, but he's technically not. There's possibilities for that. There's possibilities for some of the surviving cast members of Suicide Squad. And maybe now there's metrics to back it up. What do you think of that?
I think maybe now there's metrics to back it up. I don't know. It's very positive that it's one of the most watched DC movies on HBO Max, but there's only 2 other DC movies on HBO Max, so that's not a huge gauge. It's good that it's getting a lot of attention. We might be switching to a model where the opening weekend is not the proper metric for a success. You know, maybe it needs to go a long run. That's the problem with the current model, is that because everything has to be just quick in and out format so that you can make as much money as possible. Movies only have a narrow window to be considered a success. Whereas if they left the movie in the theaters for a substantial amount of time, they might make their budget back, because people, the conditions change, weather changes, circumstances changes, people come out, people go see a movie, and you get that repeat business. But everything is in such a rapid acceleration that we don't have time to catch our breath.
Right.
So I think when a movie is in your house, like I said before, like we've said a number of times, when the movie is home, you can watch it at your leisure. You might watch it once, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. You'll invite your friends over and you'll have a watch along, your vaccinated friends, of course. And you'll all sit around and have a watch along. So, I mean, I think the streaming model is a better model than the theater model under the current circumstances. Of course, it's always great to be able to dress up and go out with your friends, go to a movie and go to a dinner or something like that, or go to dinner and then go to a movie or whatever. However people, however people enjoy the cinematic experience, I don't denigrate it. I think it's important. It's an important pastime. But a number of things aren't being done to make the experience new and unique, as we've said before. A number of things aren't being done currently, as I've read, to make the experience safer. So people are like, heck no. I can't even be certain that I'm going to get the seat that I am assigned. And I can't be certain that I'm going to be able to, watch a movie without a jerk behind me making a lot of noise. So I'm certainly not going to feel safe, with my health in a theater, in a movie theater. That's just not going to happen. So I think, like I said before, like I said last week, I think the COVID thing is a bigger deal than all of us are making it out to be. And I think once that danger clears, I think people will start venturing out again, just like they did earlier this summer.
Yeah,
when they thought they were safe.
Yeah. No, I think
it doesn't take much. It doesn't take much to feel unsafe, right? So, so now you got the stuff coming into the house. There's, of course, no one's giving away their metrics. No one's talking about how much things are, how much revenue you're making from how many views you're getting of whatever movie that you put on the streaming service for free. I'm sure it's going to be years before we get actual viable, because that's another, that's kind of like hiding money, right?
Right.
No one, there's no laws that say that streaming services have to disclose.
No,
so it's going to be a long time before we find out
look at
exactly.
HBO's plan, though, right? HBO's plan was to get as many that's why they did this, right? They're like, we, as Christopher Nolan put it, are the worst streaming service out there and need to get as many viewers as possible. And so the way they decided to do that was, let's give them content that they literally cannot get anywhere else. And they did the same day theater release. I guess technically they could go to the theater, but who's going, right? So. Right. It was a cash grab immediately. It was a subscriber grab, I guess is the best way to put it, right? It was a subscriber grab. Right. It was something that angered a lot of the people, and that's I guess that kind of goes both ways, right? Because now you have people like Black Widow, Scarlett Johansson suing. The actors and the directors were all kind of blindsided by this, the creatives behind this. But now you have someone like James Gunn who openly said, hey, look, my favorite films are all films that I saw on TV. I never saw Jaws in the theater. I never saw Star Wars, and that's actually true. I mean, for me, especially in terms of the early '80s classics. I mean, I was just way too young. I was way too young to be in a movie theater to see Star Wars.
But there've been thousands of movies since then. I mean,
yeah,
if you want to talk
we're
about
talking
classics,
about
sure,
quality films. Quality films. We're talking about the films
There's been thousands of quality films since then. I mean, if you're going to talk about like whether or not you saw classics in the theater or not,
Pulp
sure,
Fiction.
absolutely.
I didn't see Pulp Fiction in the theater. I saw that on home video, not home video, but I had this like service in college where I could see movies. That normally I would not be able to. It was almost like a pay-per-view, but we got it for free. I don't know why or how, but it worked out pretty cool. I mean, I can list tons of movies that I just.
All right,
never
so you
saw.
don't. So mainly, you're saying that it's fine to see streaming service movies because most people didn't see popular movies in the theater.
I'm saying that it's whereas people had initial outrage. To your point, I think this now kind of adds to what could be considered the norm. And it's not that it does not have history behind it, right? It's not, to James Gunn's point, he was the only creator that came out and said, I'm not really upset that this is going to be same day streaming and same day. He just wants people to see the movie. So it's interesting. It's just interesting. That's all. I think it's an interesting experiment. I think it's going to be very, very fascinating to see what happens with Shang-Chi in next week. I have the feeling I'll be reviewing
Isn't it
the
Friday.
film.
Isn't it Friday?
Yeah, it's next Friday. Now next week
Friday,
we have a show, and we'll kind of do like a fall preview, and we'll throw Shang-Chi in there, but we're not gonna, we won't divulge until the week after, Shang-Chi and all that fun stuff. But it gives me hope too, because one thing about Suicide Squad that I thought was interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Ask people about their opinions of it, right? I feel as if people either loved it or they hated it, right? I feel that just from my personal circle.
Shang-Chi is Friday.
What, this Friday?
Yeah, September 3rd.
Oh, get out of here. Oh, so we will. Okay, we'll be reviewing it next week. I thought it was for some reason, I thought it was next week, the 9th. Hey, all right.
According to this, it says the 3rd. According to this, it's the 3rd.
I think you're right. You're probably right.
Okay.
Wow, we're gonna have an amazing amount of timing in terms of seeing whether the metrics are gonna apply now. Now it's gonna be interesting, right? Because this is a Marvel movie now. Do people venture out to see a Marvel movie that they can't see anywhere else?
Yeah, I mean they've been talking about that for a little while, about like this is the litmus test. So we'll see. We'll see.
All right.
Someone even said it was an experiment.
They did. The film.
Yes, they did.
The film's release was an experiment. All right. Let us know what you think. Check us out on Facebook.com/Rogue Matter Podcasts. We are commenting back. If you're on YouTube, YouTube.com/Rogue Matter. We are live right now. We will comment back to you in real time. It's very exciting. Coming up next, the Rocketeer is coming back. Are we excited about it? Are we not? And what are the franchises we hope never come back when we return? Welcome back to the Rogue Wave podcast, talking comics, movies, TV, and pop culture, right here on Facebook and YouTube. All right, so Rocketeer in the news, which was pretty cool. I got to be honest with you, right? Like,
you thought so?
I was a big fan of the movie way back when. It was a movie. Ironically enough, it was a movie I went and I saw, and I thought that was pretty
That's
neat.
strange considering what you just said.
I agree. See, that's what I'm saying.
That's unusual behavior for you, according to your previous
because it was family friendly. It was something that like my parents could take me to. I think it came out in 90. I was like 10, so it was definitely.
I think 1991. 1991.
Okay, 91. So I was 11, maybe 10. I don't, I have to figure that out exactly. I don't know how old I am. I don't even know where I am right now.
You were 11 in 1990. All right, that's fair.
Yeah, I was born. I'm gonna date myself here, but that's okay. I don't mind exposing my age. I'm okay with that. I was born in 79, but I'm born November 79. Ironically, I share a birthday minus a day with you.
Yes, I don't think that's an ironic point anymore. I think we've made that. I think every year it comes around, we make that point on this show.
Oh, yeah, happy birthday.
Yeah.
So having a late birthday, anybody who has a late birthday out there understands that late birthdays, like I don't consider myself 41 right now, going on to 42. I almost consider like this whole year will be 41 and next year I'll be 42, even though I will turn 42. But it's a late birthday, right? That's what you do. So I always kind of bank, like how old I was versus what year we're talking about, just simply based off of like 1980, essentially. So if it's 91, I'm 11, even though I might have been, depending on what day it was released, I might have been 12. But anyway, I don't think anybody cares about that. I care about that, and that makes me happy.
Gotcha. Yeah.
I don't know if it entertains you at all. You're riveted right now. I can tell you are positively.
You know what? My level of entertainment is not relevant. Not to this show.
No,
we'll have those discussion in production meetings, but we're not going to talk about it on the air.
Case in point,
not my genuine ability to be entertained. Just your ability to entertain me. We'll discuss that. When no one's around in the green room, we'll have that green room conversation.
That's what we do in the green room. I got to get a better background for my my studio here.
Yeah, I'm actually in the green room. You're not.
All right, so David.
Doesn't matter.
Oilowo. I got it right this time.
Oilowo.
Yeah, I know. That's a tough one. I got to be honest with you. Only because for some reason I set my my screen to like 75%, so it's like very difficult to see the type right now. And I'm getting old because I'm like 41, so go figure. He's developing the return of the Rocketeer for Disney Plus, and it's going to be it's going to focus on a Tuskegee airman who so that's what the rumors are, that he stumbles onto this jetpack. So it's kind of like a reboot, but it's kind of like a sequel at the same time. That it's because the original.
That'd be cool if they made it a sequel.
What's that?
That would be cool if they made it a sequel. I think it was it was the 30s, like the late 30s. So the Nazi thing was just starting. World War I hadn't happened yet, I think, in the movie. So that would there were Nazis, but the Nazis were around for a long time before World War I. A lot of people don't know that. But so if this is like, maybe if he's going to be a Tuskegee Airman, that means it takes place during World War I. So I don't know how much into the future I don't know. Never mind. But it's possible. It's in the right timeline.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Totally. But it got me thinking, right? So I think we're both in agreement. Thumbs up to a reboot / sequel, revitalization of this franchise.
I got no complaints about the Rocketeer coming back.
Yeah, right? Like totally cool.
As long as it's fun and they do it with the same kind of like old school adventure kind of swashbuckling kind of thing. Yeah, I don't have a problem with it. I think I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, I agree with you too. So then we started talking and we're like, hey, franchises we want to see come back, and then franchises we never want to see back. And you actually, I think you stumbled on a really good one that I liked. And I'm going to announce it for you, is the... Well, actually, what do you want to announce it? Am I going to give this to you to announce?
I don't even know which one you're going to announce. I said more than one.
You did say more than one. All right. So I'll announce it. Spider-Man and the Amazing Friends. This is on your list of franchises we want to see, or reboots we want to see of.
Yeah, but you got to understand, like, when I say that, it's got to be like the same dynamic, right? It's got to be the same circumstance, the situation, the same characters. Maybe because Starfire was kind of a cheat because she wasn't an X-Men.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, they kind of said that she was an X-Men, but she was never an X-Men. But if it had the same circumstance, the same setup,
mm-hmm.
but done in the What If animation, which I am becoming a devoted fan to. Not so much the show. We can talk about the show, but when we break it down, whenever we decide to break that show down. But the animation is bar none, you know. So I would want a Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends in traditional animation. That would be great. It's not going to happen.
No,
but it's no, it's not going to happen. Spider-Man is so much more of an iconic thing. We've had 3 cinematic iterations of Spider-Man. We've also had another animated film of Spider-Man.
Yeah.
We're getting more animation of Spider-Man. We're getting another Spider-Man film. So I mean, he is a monster now. So like, you're going to put him together with these 2 other characters.
Spirit, but Hassan, in the spirit of that, why would Disney be like, well, we can't put another one out?
I'm not talking about that. I'm just saying, like, he's sort of partnered with Iceman and Firestar, and he's, you know, they're gonna showcase who's Iceman. Like, nobody even knows who Iceman is. There's no Iceman in the MCU just yet, right? And there is no Firestar. There are no mutants in the MCU. So it's just not gonna happen yet. We're gonna have to wait for, I don't know how long for whatever iteration of the X-Men we get, and then however long in that. Then we'd have to wait for them to establish those characters so that there would be some kind of foundational background, so that the movies would not be beholden to whatever new cartoon for Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends, but they have to set up Iceman and figure out what to do with Firestar, who is and is not an X-Men. And then, so it wouldn't happen. It wouldn't happen. I would just love to see it, but it wouldn't happen.
No,
one of my favorite cartoons when I was a kid.
I feel like
I just explained a whole bunch of reasons why it wouldn't happen.
No, but it has like the nostalgia factor, right? Like, I feel like it has.
Would you spend millions of dollars to remake a cartoon where 2 out of the 3 characters have been unestablished in your MCU? You know, and whatever they would have to do in order to make that cartoon, they would have to explain where mutants came from. They would have to do all the stuff that they're seemingly going through a lot of trouble to set up in this multiverse kind of circumstance, right? So they're not going to just boot up Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends out of nowhere just because Hassan said that would be really cool, and I really
no, but it would
can I really have
cool.
one of those because I would really love it.
I actually think it's probably the best thing you've ever suggested on the show because, again, from a nostalgic point of view, it is. Yeah, like, I'm cool with it. Like, I had a lot of fun with that. Watching that, I have an old. You brought it up, like, when you mentioned it, I was like, oh crap! I still have a VHS copy of like 2 episodes of Spider-Man and the Amazing Friends, which is very obsolete now because.
Well, no, but you have the entire series now if you have Disney Plus.
I know. That's not. I was going to say not only is it obsolete because I don't have a working VCR. It is also too. Obsolete because now we own every single thing that has ever existed. Now.
Yes, it's all on streaming.
It's now for
It's at my fingertips.
Right. But no, I'm down. I think what a smart suggestion, and
wow,
I love it on my list. My suggestion was going to be something, and I can't take I can take full credit for it, but. It is something I also wanted, but I saw a number of people saying this, and that is Howard the Duck, right? I loved the first movie. While we're at it, we should reboot Adventures in Babysitting too. Also, a classic 1986 film of that era.
You loved Howard the Duck, the movie?
What's
that?
I
think we just reviewed that on my other podcast.
Did you really?
We just went over that movie. Yeah. Yes.
Is it terrible? Is a retro? Is it if it's a retro review? Is it terrible?
It's you know what? It's a hell of a movie. You decide whether I mean that's a good thing or a bad thing. It's kind of it's a full bag. What the bag is full of is up to you, but it's a full bag. Let's just say.
Well, I will sit there and tell you, it's going to happen, right? Like, I mean, no matter what, like, I think we can all agree that Marvel has some sort of plans for Howard the Duck because they keep, they keep bringing him back in some capacity, and then they just brought him back in the What If. So it's going to happen. But you, when we were talking about this off camera, you didn't want Howard the Duck. You want that to stay dead. You want that to stay intact. Like, as
look, I don't want it to stay dead. That's a little harsh, but I don't need a reboot of it. I'm okay without, I'm okay with it being what it is. I don't think he's dead.
No, I don't mean dead. He's
obviously alive.
I mean, like, we want, we don't want these concepts revitalized, redone.
I'm okay. I'm okay with the way things are right now, with us in a world where there is no new Howard the Duck. I'm okay with it.
One thing I will add is that I think people that want Howard the Duck were fans of him in the comic, right? Because he kind of like popped up in the Marvel comics.
He had his own comic for a long time.
But I'm saying that his interaction with the rest of the Marvel universe, which was something you couldn't dream of in the 80s, right? I mean, you couldn't even fathom the idea that because the licensing rights went out to different studios. There's all kinds of things that used to prohibit these kind of stuff from happening. But people who are like huge fans of Howard the Duck are like, no, I want him back. I want him as part of the rest of the Marvel universe. And that's what I think, people are hoping to see are the old school fans. I don't think new school fans even know who Howard the Duck is.
Nobody knows. Yeah, no, none of the kids know.
Right?
Kids have no idea. There was a meme recently about kids having no idea who Alfred Molina's Doc Ock is and why that's important. But I say the heck with them. I say too bad. I say educate yourself.
Do you ever, when you go
because I'm enjoying that nostalgia.
When you go into like the convenience stores or whatever the case is, and then it's like you can't buy cigarettes unless you were born on this date. Like I know, like I kind of start to cringe a little bit because I'm just like, wait, what do you mean like 2003? like that's kind of weird, right?
No, no.
So I feel like there.
I mean, I didn't cringe when you would. I didn't cringe when you said you were 11 in 1991. So I mean, I'm all right.
That's true.
I've made peace with it. I've made peace with all of it.
No, but I'm saying there should be signs on like disclaimers in front of the films, like you shouldn't be able to watch this unless you were born, like some sort of disclaimer to kind of like you need to know this. If you were born before this date, you need to go and watch this film before.
We do have those. We have PG ratings. We have the screen rating.
No, I don't mean like you're not allowed to watch it because it's bad for you. I mean like you need to go and educate yourself. Like you need to go watch these other films before you can even.
I understand.
Step foot.
I understand what you mean.
Yeah.
I mean, look, it's just like everything else, right?
1983, go watch Spider-Man 2.
If you want to be in the know, then here's what you need to know to educate yourself. If you don't mind being in the dark, then good on you. Like good luck. Right?
Yeah.
That's how everything works, right? If you don't want to, I'm not going to force you, but if you want to know why everybody's cheering right now,
right.
Maybe you just educate yourself.
Yeah.
Stupid kids.
Very fair. I'll ping pong since I'm talking about the stuff I wanted to see rebooted. One thing I do not want to see rebooted at all, even though it makes the most sense to from a cash grab, is Buffy. I never want to see a Buffy reboot. So let me take you back. Senior year of high school, Buffy debuts, right? Or I think it was a mid-season replacement, so I was like practically graduating, and I chuckled, and I'm like, wait, they're doing a TV show based on that awful movie that with
Chrissy Swanson, that awful Chrissy Swanson movie.
Chrissy Swanson, and I'm like, this has got to be the dumbest thing I've ever seen. And then the reviews came out, and the reviews were actually really good and kind of lingered for a while. Now, fast forward to Buffy season 4. I'm an intern at Wizard magazine. And The Office, I mean, remember The Office? Everyone besides Hassan Godwin loved Buffy. Like everyone I talked to at editorial, they were like, Buffy, got to watch Buffy. This was great. Used to talk about it a lot in the magazine. Like it was a big kind of deal at The Office, right? And so I said, all right, fine. You know what? It's the summer. What else is on TV? They were showing reruns. and it was their college years. And I remember watching the college years, which, mind you, is not, I think, a lot of people's top 3 seasons. And it's probably not even my top 3. It's one of the things where I know there are better seasons, but I enjoy that because that was my first real exposure to the show. And they had this episode. They had a bunch of episodes, a couple things that just stood out to me that I thought was just utterly brilliant. Right, one was that in episode like 2 or 3, she like sleeps with the guy and then he kind of ghosts her. And this is before we had cell phones, so I'm using a modern term to kind of say like he sleeps with her and then he doesn't call her back, because they actually used to call people back then. And she kept like being like, "Hey, you know, I'm really into you. What happened?" Blah blah blah. And I'm like, "Oh my gosh!" Like, I've never seen a show where the hero of the show is kind of used like that, or not, you know, put on such a pedestal that something like that couldn't happen. And mind you, I mean, a couple years earlier than that, I was consoling a girl who had slept with like a sweet mate of mine. And then he basically kind of did the same thing. And she's like, "Oh, blah, blah, blah." And I'm like, "Oh, it'll be okay. It'll be okay." And I'm like, and it brought me back. I'm like, wow, I've never seen a show accurately portray things that actually happen in college like that. It accurately, not accurately, metaphorically talked about drinking, which I thought was kind of cool too. Again, this is back the year 2000. You know, you had Seinfeld, which was breaking down barriers in terms of what kind of content you can get away with on a network show. You had The Simpsons that was doing that. You had shows that were kind of breaking that down, but there was still a level of, would you call it naivety, or just, I don't want to call it censorship, but there was a restriction in terms of like what you could get away with. And so to accurately, right?
More censorship. Yeah, I would say it's more censorship than naivety. I think it's naive. I think it's purporting naivete, but it's more censorship in service of naivety.
I agree. I can definitely go along with it. I would not argue with that point with you at all. And so to see things that are accurately portrayed in college on a network show, I was like, well, okay, all right, you got my attention. And then lastly, the one thing I thought was really amazing was the progression of Willow's character that year to where she fell in love with Tara. And it was happening over the course of that season. And I said to myself, wait a minute, wow, we're actually going to get an LGBTQ storyline. And back then there was no, it was just LGB at that point. I think there was no Q and T at that point, because I think television at that point didn't even show LGB stories at that point. But it was done in such a way that I was totally on board. I was like, wow, this is just showing the storyline of two characters falling in love. And I thought it was just so well done. And those 3 points, along with the big bad of the season appealing to my comic book, you know, sensibilities, where every episode, and again, this was not done back then in TV. Every episode was one long-running storyline, and they would harken back to things that happened in previous seasons, and characters would grow and change and die, and then, you know, I was hooked. Like, I had to immediately go back and watch and rewatch all of the old episodes, which back then meant another college friend of mine, mutual friend of the show, James Massia, had to go onto this internet and burn it onto a CD for me. So I'd have like one episode per CD. He gave me like 12 CDs worth of old Buffy episodes to actually watch, because, you know, again, this is pre-internet, right? Am I taking
so why would you want to reboot?
I
don't. I've already said my piece on Buffy ad nauseum on this show.
But I'm giving you a flavor of back in the day. Am I walking you through the nostalgia
with your CDs? And I remember 2000, 2001, 2003, you know, that I remember those years.
Remember lugging zip drives around with your portfolio?
I do remember that, the zip and jazz drives.
Yeah,
because when you had a serious file, you had to have a jazz drive. You were not a real contender in the industry unless you had a jazz drive.
Yeah,
at your disposal. It's crazy time.
Yeah,
crazy time. You know, I remember the first thumb drive that was only 500 megabytes. And people are like, holy crap, 500 megabytes on a thumb drive. Yeah,
I know.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I hope I entertained you with a sense of nostalgia. But for all those reasons,
Through all that,
me,
why the heck would you not want a reboot of it after all that?
Because it is a perfect time capsule
of
a time of my life. It is a perfect time capsule in a time of my life.
Oh, so it's all.
It was handled. It's a complete. Like I said, it makes total sense to reboot or revitalize. I hope that if they do anything, I hope they don't reboot. I hope they revitalize. I hope that the possibility of a Spike cameo or an Angel cameo or even a Buffy cameo, I hope they don't go the Ghostbusters route. I hope that people realize, that studio executives realize that
is that on the roster? People are planning to do is that on the roster? People are planning to do a Buffy the Vampire Slayer reboot?
There were rumors, and it was without Joss Whedon's involvement, which ironically, again, 4 years ago, maybe I'm using the term wrong. Maybe I'm using the Alanis Morissette version of ironic. People were against because it didn't involve Joss Whedon. Now you could probably greenlight this thing just by saying not Joss Whedon involved, and it'll be sold. We're Buffy it. We're doing it. Let's do it.
Talk about a fall from grace. Talk about it like
I think it was like 2017 Comic-Con. I remember there was rumblings that they were going to redo. It was a redo also, like a reboot where it was a totally redone, whatever. And storyline, and I think people were up in arms because Joss Whedon was not involved, and it was going to completely start from scratch again.
I'm ironically, kind of on the same side. I mean, and I don't mean that they shouldn't reboot it just because after a while, I fell out of sync with it, out of love with it. Because I was with everybody else in the very beginning, and I thought it was some groundbreaking stuff. I thought it was really, really good stuff. But years from now, we can actually have a long conversation about like the show in and of itself, how you feel about it versus how I feel about it. Maybe. But yeah, I wouldn't want to see it redone, not because I disliked it, but because for the same reasons. I don't think they would do a good job with it. Yeah. I just don't think. I think it had its day. I think the charm of it and the nuance of it was the fact that it was groundbreaking, and there's no ground to break anymore with it now. So now it would be a soap opera now.
Yeah,
it would just be a really bad who's sleeping with who and who killed who and who's secretly a vampire kind of situation. And I don't think it would be done to the same tongue-in-cheek effect that made the original show viable. So I agree with you.
I don't disagree too. I mean, there's always a level of trepidation, right? There's always a level of, gee, are they going to get this, incorrect down the line, right?
Yeah. And I doubt that in
this particular case, the gimmick, for lack of a better term, was the fact that there was nothing else like this on TV. And the initial gimmick, what I liked about it was a layered gimmick, right? Or not even a layered gimmick. It was layered, right? The gimmick was, this is taking the typical horror movie trope of the woman in danger, completely flipping it on its head, giving a lead female protagonist, making it layered and deep, and it wasn't speaking necessarily to young boys. It was supposed to be speaking to young girls as well, and it was very inclusive. The storylines were inclusive, the cast, all kinds of things that audiences today expect from their shows was a gimmick to come see this, that it was something you've never seen before. So I do agree that is lost if they try it again. However, they'll probably do it. The cash cow, you can't slow the cash cow down.
Take solace in the fact that it won't last long.
Watch a year from now. Man, that Buffy reboot was unbelievable.
But I mean, that's to your benefit also, right? If it comes out and it's great, you still win, right?
Yeah,
you don't lose anything, no matter what.
I guess so.
Take a break side, man.
I guess so. All right. You want to throw any last ones in before we go to break?
I would like to see a reboot. Not a reboot so much as a sequel, but a sequel / reboot of Babylon 5. I think that would be fantastic. I think that would be awesome.
Okay.
I think the way special effects are now, and I would want Straczynski to still be part of it, and I think he still wants to be part of it. I think he's still got ideas or whatever. And a couple of years ago, he was in the process of trying to relaunch it, but I think licensing and a whole bunch of other unforeseen machinations behind the scenes were cropped up and stopped it from going forward. But I would, if I had my choice, that would be what I would insist upon.
All right. What do you guys think? What kind of franchises do you want to see rebooted? What kind of storylines do you want to see rebooted? What franchises do you want to just leave? We won't use the word dead. We'll keep it nice and kosher. We'll say dormant. How's that? Leave and let leave. Which ones do you want to see again? Comment in the Facebook feed. Quiet night tonight. I think everyone's on vacation this week. Or maybe everyone's in line to see Shang-Chi already because it's coming out this Friday. I'm not sure.
Yeah, you didn't even know. You'd be there right now if you knew. If you had known.
Hey, I'm making it a point. I'm definitely going to go see it. It's going to be fantastic.
That's what I'm saying. We'd be there right this minute.
If how the heck I'm going to find
but we
time
just
to
didn't
see
know.
it. I really was all set for next Friday. Who knew?
Oh, you could still see it next Friday.
Yeah, but it's going to be a little late for our show, so we're going to have to. I'll have to beef it up.
This is true. There are little caveats.
Do you think I might have
caveats.
to pull, and I think I can do this. I might have to pull a day of viewing, because our show's at 8, so I got all afternoon. I did it. I got it. All right.
Yeah,
when we come back, DC Fandome was just announced. We're going to rank all of the film trailers and the behind-the-scenes looks that were announced to be seen as to which one do we care the most about when we come back. Just for posterity, I'm showing the Amazing Friends graphic again because I just love it so much. I really do. You not only so Buffy took me down memory lane, but also Super Friends. Something about it. I don't know what about it is. All right, DC Fandome was just announced. It's going to take place I think it's a week after Comic-Con, near Comic-Con. So I feel like a lot of stuff is just getting crammed into the end of this year, right? And I think, was it October? The week before that is when the James Bond film comes out, October 15th.
Yeah, did you see the trailer for it? They just they're dropping that all over the place. It's popping up all over my feed.
Yeah,
pretty good trailer. Damn it.
Yeah,
damn it. The last movie I did not like. I did not like Spectra or whatever.
No, I didn't love it. I didn't love it either.
I liked them all up to that. My favorite was the first one.
Yeah,
Quantum. I'm one of the few who actually like Quantum of Solace just as much as the first one. I found out recently that I am in a small group of people who actually like that movie.
Oh,
and
yes,
you
are.
Skyfall.
Actually.
Yeah, whatever. Skyfall. It's a good movie, but it's not as I didn't find it as great as everyone said it was. I think Skyfall is a great movie.
Not great. I would not call
that.
But
it's not. It wasn't. It didn't break the world like people claim it did.
No, definitely not.
But then
gritty.
Spectrum. I didn't like Spectrum. Spectra. I think it's Spectra. That's the
Which one was the one with the mom? Was that Skyfall?
The one with the mom?
It was like what's her name came back and she was in the cabin.
That's Skyfall. You're talking
Skyfall.
About Judi Dench? You're talking about M?
Yeah.
She was M. She was like the head of MI6 for like 3 movies. You're calling her mom? Why are you calling? All right, let's get off this subject.
Something with her dad or something. I don't know.
Skyfall. I mean, he came. That's where he came from. Right. He came from a place in Scotland called Skyfall.
Very unmemorable, though. Not very memorable at all, actually.
Oh boy. Okay.
Quantum of Solace. Here's the thing about Quantum, though, right? This is, again, when did the first one come out? First one came out in 2014, right? Let me take a look here.
2006 was Casino Royale.
Right, Casino Royale was
2008 was
2006. Quantum of Solace came
Quantum
out
of
when?
Solace. I'm telling you, 2008 was Quantum of Solace. You're
Right.
not listening to me. You can't hear me. Can you not hear me?
I'm Googling.
Because I'm actually telling you the answers, right?
I'm Googling,
Skyfall is 2012.
Mm-hmm.
Spectra is 2015.
What happened in Spectra? I don't even remember that.
Spectra was Blofeld. And with Christoph Waltz was his Blofeld. Spoiler.
Yeah, all right. See, that's what it comes down to, right? These James Bond films in the Daniel Craig era. I feel like Casino Royale. I'm like, oh yeah, great film. You know, it's stuck, right? It sticks in your head. Quantum of Solace is an underrated film, and I'll tell you why. Though this is
ironically the only one of the Daniel Craig movie posters that actually has another person on the poster with him.
Ooh.
Which is Kirilenko, who was we just established was Taskmaster.
Okay.
In the other spy movie that came out this year, which was Black Widow.
Brian Everham chimed in as well too that it was Spectre. So yeah.
Yes. All right.
See,
well, we already.
I miss the live
took care of
interaction of people helping the show. See, you're all part of the show when you interact on our feed with us. See, that's the best part of it.
Don't get
Some might say it's correcting me, but I don't think that's the case.
Did you have a point to make? Make your point. Point.
Quantum of Solace, it came out not pre-Marvel Universe, because you had, Hulk came out and then Iron Man came out right after, but you had, I guess it's the other way around, but this is pre-MCU, where audiences understood that, there's an interconnectivity to it, right? It was It took place like immediately after Casino Royale.
That's what I loved about it.
Yeah,
that's what I honestly loved about it.
But that's the thing.
But I mean, look at it. It's got a 64 on Rotten Tomatoes. It's one percentage point higher than Spectra, which is universally considered the worst out of the bunch.
Yeah.
Right. So Casino Royale 94 Rotten Tomatoes, 64 for Quantum of Solace, 92 for Skyfall. So Casino Royale is still higher.
Skyfall. Yep.
And then 63, back down to 63 for Spectra. Well, this is BS anyway, because there's a 56, The Die Another Day, which was considered a really successful Bond movie before the reboot with Pierce Brosnan.
Ooh,
gets a 56 here. And
I love all the Pierce Brosnan ones,
awesome.
But
yeah, that
was kind of nice part about Daniel Craig in that role, and the reboot was so different. It was definitely something.
Of course,
that,
of course, but don't forget about DC Fandome.
No, I'm not. We got time. Look at that. Where are we going? We're not going anywhere. We're good. So DC Fandome came back. I just came over though. A friend of the show, James Massey, just texted me. Top Gun, Maverick, and Mission Impossible 7 delayed until 2022. So, just kind of flows into our topic. We were talking off camera though. You were talking about how you think
it's actually pronounced Spectra. So he can claim it's pronounced any way he wants.
Is Spectre. No, it is Spectre. It's not Spectra.
But you can say Spectra.
Can you?
It's a tomato thing.
Is it?
Yes.
All right. I'll support you.
This is part of a spectrum.
Only because I'm going to need a couple. I'm going to need a couple wins in my pocket. I'm going to need a couple wins in my pocket, so when I mispronounce names, you'll be like, "No, you're right, Mike. You're right."
I won't do that though.
So DC Fandome coming out, and a new Batman trailer. There's a list of things in the new DC Fandome that I think is kind of cool. There's some video game stuff. We don't cover video games. We have Button Smash, which will be coming back for season 2. By the way, with Button Smash, if you are a gamer and think you can host a podcast, we are going to be posting on the Rogue Matter site in the next couple months. We will be looking for podcasters to fill that role. It'll be very exciting. So stay tuned. We'll keep you guys in the loop. I want to focus on the trailers, the sneak peeks, and the behind the scenes stuff. So new Batman trailer. That's going to debut in DC Fandome. A sneak peek at the Flash movie, right? So that's going to be kind of cool. And then they're also going to give us they're going to unveil the first look of Black Adam with The Rock. And Aquaman, the Lost Kingdom, and Shazam: Fury of the Gods are both going to be given a behind-the-scenes treatment. So we're going to get first looks as well. No trailers, though. We're not going to get any kind of sneak peek trailers or anything like that. But of all the things I just mentioned, which piques your curiosity the most? Like, if we had to rank the item that we are the most curious about, that, like, if you could only see one, rank them in order, which one would you what would be at the top of your list in terms of, like, I must see? Like, if there was a virtual Hall H here.
I get it. Black Adam or Aquaman.
Okay. Now, why Black Adam? Is that actually? I'm not a DC guy.
I like The Rock, and I like the parallel between him and Captain Marvel or Shazam, and I also, I'm interested to see what they do with it. Hopefully, it'll be. And I've never seen Black Adam depicted in the modern day.
Okay.
Depicted well in the modern day. And then, of course, I love Jason Momoa, so I really enjoyed Aquaman. So I want to know as much as there is to know about Aquaman 2, which I hope will be another success for him.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I'm very curious about The Flash. And not because of The Flash in any way, shape, or form. I'm much more curious about a particular Batman character. And again, maybe it's my age, maybe. But I'm more curious to see Michael Keaton reprise the role of Bruce Wayne and Batman than I am to see the new Batman film at all with Robert, what's his face from Twilight?
Robert Pattinson.
Yeah.
Well, okay. I mean, Batman's been kind of done to death. I'm sure.
Right, and in this case, it's not right. In this case, it's almost like, wow, we're getting a Batman we never thought we could get back again. And again, we don't know what kind of role he's going to have, right? We don't know. How do we know that?
I mean, what do you mean we're getting a Batman? What do you mean we're getting a Batman we never thought we could get back again? I don't understand.
Did you ever think we'd see Michael Keaton as Batman again?
All right, okay. I was talking about Robert
Pattinson.
Oh,
yeah. No. That's why I'm saying this is why I'm more interested in seeing The Flash, because it actually has the Batman I want to see in it.
Okay.
Versus,
I get you.
Nothing against Robert Pattinson either. He's a fantastic actor. Like, I have nothing against, like, he's.
No, I'm just done with Batman.
Right.
I'm just done with new Batman. But I'm sure it'll be good. I'm sure it'll be great. I mean, I'm not being facetious. I'm sure it'll be great. I'm just, I'll wait. I can wait for that to come out.
Yeah, I would
the other
rank...
stuff. If someone had to ask me about whether or not I was excited about seeing those things, I would have to say Black Adam and Aquaman.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with you on Aquaman. So I'd say Aquaman's number one for both of us, right? Is that a fair?
I mean, no, Black Adam, but yeah, Aquaman's up there. He's a close second.
Okay. But see, so for me it was Flash and Aquaman. For you, it's Black Adam and Aquaman. The fact that we both are interested in Aquaman, I'm going to say the official Rogue Wave, I am the most curious about. I also love James Wan. Like, I love what he was able to do visually in that movie to make it work. So I'm kind of curious now. Okay, now that you have a success under your belt, the studio's going to give you even more free reign. Are you going to go bigger and better, or are you going to go like Wonder Woman 1984? Awful, like let the reins out. And
I mean, the sad thing is it could go either way. That's why that's the unfortunate part.
Yes, fully acknowledging it could go either way. But
here's hoping for the best.
Now, did you like Shazam?
I enjoyed Shazam.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't I wasn't blown away by it, but I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I would actually
it was good.
I would probably put that at the bottom of my list of excitement, of curiosity, of if I had to wait in line for something, I would put the Batman above it, just simply because the beauty of Shazam, I enjoyed the original Shazam, but it was a feel-good movie, right? It was something like, wow, I really enjoy this film. It makes me feel good. I'm glad I watched it. I don't really need a sequel, right? I don't know. I would love if he was like the Joey of the DC universe and just appeared in other films at this point.
I don't know. I don't need or not need a sequel. I mean, it's fine. If they want to do a sequel, as long as the sequel's good, I'll watch it. I'll be happy to see it. I just, it was good.
Yeah.
It just didn't. I'm not compelled. I don't want to. I'm curious to see where they take the story from there, but I'm not compelled to see the kid who could turn into a grown man superhero. I mean, I'm sure there are things they can do with that storyline, and they have done it in previous comic books. But there's things they can do with that storyline that would intrigue me mightily. But for right now, nah, I'm okay. I can wait till it comes out. I'll be there, but I can wait to see it.
Yeah, I agree with you too. I would actually put the Batman slightly ahead of it, amazingly enough, even though I am in no way, shape, or form excited for the new Batman movie.
Yeah, they're about even for me.
Yeah.
Where's
Flash? Where's Flash on this list for you?
I mean, I don't know, man. The Flash doesn't make any sense to me anymore because they got rid of the Justice League. They got rid of Snyder's everything else, right? So is the Flash, is that a sequel to Justice League? Is that a continuation of Man of Steel or whatever?
Mm-hmm.
Or is it like a complete reboot, which just what is his name? Ezra Klein, right? That's
Ezra Miller, right?
Ezra Miller. Ezra Klein is a political guy. It's so if you have Ezra Miller like as your Flash, does that mean that the Affleck Batman still exists somewhere? Does that mean
absolutely.
I don't but I don't know where to put it.
Don't forget, it's still it's still Snyder's Aquaman and it's still Snyder's Wonder Woman too.
That's what I'm saying, but I mean, like, it doesn't. I was never that deeply moved by Ezra Miller's Flash. I'm okay with it. But I can wait.
This is going to be DC's like answer to Marvel's multiverse, done in probable DC fashion, which is just going to be horrible. It's going to be.
I hope
like
not.
You're going to walk out and
really
be like, "Wow,
not.
That was supposed to fix everything," and it just made it completely. Michael Keaton is now the new Batman, and he's
like Days of Future Past from X-Men, which actually fixed everything in the previous X-Men movies, and they ruined it 5 minutes later with Logan.
Yeah,
like everything is back, everything is fine. Nope, they're all dead. Like, wait, we just fixed the timeline. Nah, don't worry, they're all dead. And then they did Dark Phoenix, so it's like, wow, all right, you guys, everything you guys got right was an accident. I can see now, everything that you did right was probably like a happy accident for you guys in this franchise.
What do you guys think? DC Fandome, count it down. That is our show for tonight. We've had a great time. I want to remind folks, because I enjoy pimping my own stuff, Time Trader number 3 is now live on Kickstarter. You go to roguematter.com/Kickstarter. We are officially 87% funded. We need just under $200 to get to that funding goal within just a little under 48 hours, which would be awesome. Dylan Sharp can rewind time whenever he wants to, goes to the stock market to cash in. Now he's in bed with the enemy, and he's going to understand there's no such thing as a get-rich-quick scheme. We are officially endorsed by Fabian Nicieza, co-creator of Deadpool, which was pretty outstanding. And, that's all I got, my man. Are you set to see Shang-Chi, or are we're gonna figure this out for next week?
I'm gonna see if I can get around to seeing it. All right. Probably Friday.
I'm gonna do the day of. I'm gonna be coming in fresh. I'll be doing a Wednesday viewing. I'm getting the tickets Fair enough. Now. It'll be like a Wednesday.
Gotcha.
Afternoon screening. I think it's gonna be pretty exciting. All right, can't wait to talk about it. We will see you guys next week. Rogue Wave.